Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnamachakshushrotram tadapanipadam Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnamachakshushrotram tadapanipadam Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. There's nothing perhaps more intense than this mantra in describing the higher. Yet tat, that which, yet tat, adreshyam, imperceptible, agrahyam, ungraspable, agotram, unlineal, avarnam, without caste, achakshushrotram, without eye, ear, apanipadam, without hand and foot, omnipresent, nityam, vibhum, all pervading, sarvagatam. Sarvagatam is all pervading, vibhum, of manifold expressions. I think that's missing there, isn't it? Edit panungo. Of manifold expressions, extremely subtle, susukshmam, avyayam, imperishable, yadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. That dhiraha means the wise perceive everywhere as the source of all creation. Bhutayonim, mark the words, we have called it the source of creation, not the cause of creation. There's a difference between the usage of word source vis-a-vis cause. That the wise perceive everywhere as the source of all creation. Now, so having described the lower, here he gives 10 pointers describing the higher, which gives you a panoramic perspective as to what the Brahman is. Far from what people understand Brahman or God to be, these are some of the authoritative mantras which gives us what the true Brahman or reality is. Firstly, he says, adreshyam. Adreshyam means imperceptible. It can't be perceived by your sense organs. God cannot be seen by your organs of perception, because God is not an object of perception. Full stop. So all the drama people do is only symbols of God. It is not real. God cannot be seen. Why God cannot be seen or heard or touch or smell? It's not perceptible because God is not an object of perception. Then what is it? It is the very subject that enables you to perceive. When I stand in front of the Lord, just visualize it. You go to a temple or stand in front of the altar. It is not what you see, he's saying. It is that which enables you to see that is God. It is the subject within it. It's not the object. So I am the subject. The world is the object. So I am the perceiver. The world is the perceived. He's saying God can't be kept as an object of perception. Why can't it be kept as an object of perception? because it is the very subject. So when he says imperceptible, it means it is beyond the body. Anything physical, anything gross is not God. He dismisses it. Every time you believe God is outward, you got to remind yourself, adreshyam. Every time you go outward to experience God, understand it is within me. It is not out there. Every time you worship, you chant this mantra, you understand you are going one step outward, you need to take one step inward. All of us are running outward to see God. He's saying it's not there, it is inside. Second point, he says, agrahyam, ungraspable. It cannot be grasped. Grasp refers to the receptacles, which is your mind and intellect. So it is your mind and intellect that are the receptacles that you are using in now to feel and understand Brahman. So it is not graspable because it is not the object of emotion, not an object of thought. So it is the subject of emotion. It is a subject of thought, means it is that which enables you to feel. It is that which enables you to think. It can't be captured with feeling and thought. With feeling, I can capture your love or your disregard. You may disregard me, you may love me. I can capture that. You may praise me, you may throw censure at me. That I can capture. But with my mind, however pure my mind is, I can't capture God. Then what are we doing in bhakti? The subtlest of expression of bhakti is Carnatic music. So when you are singing Carnatic music, your mind gets elevated. So purely elevated that you believe you have captured God. So what we are saying, through emotion, you cannot capture God. But in bhakti, what are you doing? Vasantama, what are we doing in bhakti then?
We are becoming, trying to become one with God. Feeling a sense of gratitude and love for God. When you have that devotion, bhakti, complete surrender.
No, your description of what bhakti is right. Means it is an attitude of surrender, an attitude of gratitude. Yes. But on one side, we say that your mind cannot grasp Brahman through emotion. But yet, in bhakti, are you not trying to kindle your emotion?
Yes, the true love for God.
The true feeling for God is trying to be triggered. But yet we say God can't be captured through emotion. Then what are we attempting in bhakti is the question.
So through bhakti, we go to Jnana Yoga, then we capture.
Where? No. Okay. Now I captured you, what you're saying. I caught you. You're saying you can capture Brahman through Jnanam. He's saying you can't capture Brahman through Jnanam also. Therefore, that's what he's saying. It is the subject of your mind. It is the subject behind your intellect. It is not an object of emotion, not an object of thought.
You become that.
Becoming is goal of realization. My question is, on one point, we say that Brahman cannot be captured through emotion. My question is simple and straightforward. Then what are we trying to do in bhakti? You get it? What are you experiencing in bhakti? greatest of bhaktas have glorified the Lord. They sang countless praises of the Lord in their own way.
They're experiencing the presence of, experiencing the presence of God. That's not the word, but they're experiencing that emotion.
Experiencing emotion of what? Of God? He says God can't be captured in emotion itself. And you're saying experiencing emotion of God. You see, we are caught up in a catch-22 situation. This is what we are trying to get to. What are they trying to say? Do you mean to say the effort in bhakti and jnanam is redundant, or is it futile?
Through bhakti also we can attain moksha. It's not.
No, we are not talking of that. You can't capture God through bhakti is the point. You can't capture God through jnanam. That's the point. So we must understand.
God is not something that we can capture. He's a subject. So.
Okay, very good. Now, when you're singing bhajan or performing a puja, what are you trying to capture? Emotion of God, isn't it? And you may say, oh, I felt so divinely. You also say, I felt divinely. You feel that you have captured a divine experience or feeling. What is that you're feeling? Now, I'm only trying to make rational sense of what this is. Then what are we doing? If God can't be captured through thought, then what is all this exercise of trying to rationalize God, of trying to rationalize or understand what God is? Okay, it's just a food for thought. Sidhuji will serve us some dishes.
Yes, through bhakti or jnanam or karma, it's the means to an end only. It's a path. We go to the last leg, like the pole vaulter. We leave the pole. When we leave the pole, we get into nitya, the nidityasanam, that meditation turiya, and then we get into. But this step is required. All these steps we have to go through. Unless we qualify for this and then we go through this, this is like we are in the tunnel.
So please bring us out of the tunnel, sir. Don't leave us in the tunnel.
No, I'm just saying we will ultimately we have to, we can and we have to, but we have to go through this process. This why we engage in this is this Upanishad is driving us inside and making us understand and the Brahman.
Sir, all what you say is well said, but my point.
This is a must, Guruji. We have to.
No, I am not having any second thoughts of it, so don't worry. No second thought. We will continue the effort. There is no doubt in the sadhana. This is the sadhana. You have to go through the tunnel. I understand that. But many people misbelieve, many people misconstrue that.
They in emotion, whatever they manifest, they think that is the ultimate God, which is not correct. In Bhakti is not correct. Maybe see Tyagaraja and all, they have realized, anyone who is self-realized, he doesn't say he is self-realized. But through Bhakti, again, they have gone, transcended Bhakti also, all those saints.
Right, sir. Right. Thank you. Now, what we must understand is the question I'm repeating it. Even though we say that Brahman cannot be captured through emotion and thought. That stands as a point of fact. So as a sadhak, you could be at various stages of your spiritual journey. If a sadhak, let's say he is relatively evolved, when he uses emotion or uses intellect to attune to God, what we are saying is the established point that it cannot capture God stands true. Means you cannot capture Brahman in an emotion or a thought. But what is it then that the seeker experiences? You are only experiencing an elevation of your thought, an elevation of your emotion. You are experiencing a subtlety of emotion or a subtlety of thought or a purity of your head and heart. It's a purified state that you are experiencing. You are not experiencing Brahman. You cannot experience Brahman. As a practitioner, as a sadhak, you can't capture it. But as Setuji said, let's say when the great Saint Tyagaraja or the great Ramadas or any great Bhakta or Mirabai or any of these great Bhaktas, when they sang the praises of the Lord, they are conveying the emotion of realization through emotion. They're conveying the experience of realization through emotion. So it is ulta. Means they are talking from a standpoint of realization and they're conveying that experience of realization through emotion. They need to have a language to communicate, isn't it? Like this master in the text is conveying the experience of realization through the Upanishad. There's a difference between he conveying and we relating. He is conveying from the standpoint of realization. We are trying to understand it from the standpoint of limitation. We must understand from a standpoint of limitation, you can only come to, let's say, 99.9% or 99% you can come. You cannot get to 100%. That 100% cannot be captured because God is not an object of emotion or thought. You can get to 99% feeling of God, but you can't grasp, you can't clinch God through emotion and intellect. The equipments are not capable. So the sadhana takes you to a point of 99%. And at that point, you got to drop the emotion, you got to drop the thought to get to Brahman. Exactly like example, Setuji reminded us of the pole vault example. You will use the pole vault till the last stage, but at some point you get rid of it. Similarly, you use emotion and thought to elevate to one step short of realization, but you understand that you can't reach the gates of realization with the emotion and intellect. You drop them there and then you enter the gates of realization. So right throughout, the sadhak must understand what? The sadhak must understand adreshyam, agrahyam. It is imperceptible, it is ungraspable. So pursue with the understanding with the understanding that it cannot be captured. Then what are you trying to do? You're trying to elevate, get rid of the impurities. You know, it may sound poetic. Finite cannot give you infinite. Amitama, if finite can't give you infinite, what is finite doing? I'm just saying that emotion and thought cannot give you a Brahman, which is a finite. Finite can never give you infinite.
Yeah.
But then what is finite doing to you?
Well, if we are speaking about finite in terms of this terrestrial world and this body, then sorry, sir, if I'm not answering the question, but I suppose the role of the finite here is we are going through this knowledge seeking, right, in order for us to achieve the infinite. So what is your question is, what is finite doing?
See, finite cannot give you infinite.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yet this finite, which is the knowledge and emotion, bhakti and jnana, even karma, bhakti, jnana, they're all finite efforts. But what is the finite doing? In what way it's helping? It's certainly helping. Like in the previous mantra, we said it is like the dream lion. It is such a pivotal role it plays in catapulting us to that higher state. But
I suppose it is the discipline, getting into the rhythm or the momentum of eventually achieving the infinite. So it's providing the path.
it
But
does
it's
give
not
the path.
it's not the end. Yeah, it's the process.
I know we are lost for words in answering, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I can relate to you there. Yeah. Vijayji, any idea? The finite cannot give you infinite, but then what the finite can do?
I think basically, Guruji, is that we talk, you look at finite hard, simply to say that it is not that. I mean, it's a kind of a negation before we go ahead, because the whole Vedanta itself seems to be negating knowledge, series of negations instead of series of additions.
Yes, you're spot on. It just negating. In fact, what a finite can do is a finite can take care of the finite. Finite can never give you infinite. When I say finite can take care of the finite knowledge, the finite effort can take care of the finite obstacle. The knowledge is meant to combat ignorance. Isn't it, sir? The knowledge is an antidote for ignorance. We are not saying knowledge is going to give you enlightenment. Knowledge cannot give you enlightenment.
To know that, I think we look at the finite.
Yes. That's why we need to look at this finite. So the finite knowledge takes care of the finite ignorance. And when the ignorance is removed, what remains is enlightenment. It's like medicine takes care of the disease. Medicine cannot give you health. What remains is your original nature, which is your health. I can't claim that medicine gives me health. Medicine cannot give me health. Health is my original nature. I'm born with it. But medicine, what it does is it takes care of the disease you have created. Disease is finite. Medicine also is finite. Just like medicine takes care of disease, gives you health. Knowledge takes care of ignorance, which gives you enlightenment. So finite dealing with finite, what is left with infinite? Isn't it, sir? It makes a rational sense to understand this way. So bhakti and knowledge, karma and bhakti and jnanam take us to a very elevated state, one step short of enlightenment. It cannot give you enlightenment. So at some point, we must understand the limitation of the effort. Like a pole vaulter cannot carry that pole along with him to the other side. He cannot. However great a pole vaulter you are, you have to leave it behind.
Guruji, may I try to relate it to a personal experience. It also relates to the earlier question you asked about bhakti. Personally speaking, as and when I pray in the temple or at home, wherever, I think I seem to be trying to bundle out all my thoughts and all the reasoning. There is no such, everything is trying to be erased out through chanting or whatever it is. And I don't know where I land. It is a kind of a, deep sense of nothingness and peace. And all that I know is when I come out of a temple, I feel refreshed and peaceful. I don't know what exactly happened this way, what was the process and things like that. I mean, it's been a little mystique, mysterious. I suppose that is my concept of praying. Maybe I'm wrong.
So what exactly are you asking, sir? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just relating it to that, at the end of the day, there is nothing, form, and I don't see God or anything. It's just that, you erase everything out and seek peace, contentment. I don't know, whatever the word, harmony, whichever it is.
So he's exactly justifying what we're saying. Everything that we're doing is just to undo what we have done, which is the mental agitation or the mental imperfections you're trying to appease and quieten the mind. And why does the mind get agitated? Because of your unnecessary attachments and worries and anxieties. You're calming the mind. The moment you calm the mind becomes a temple, isn't it, sir? So all those external environments create an conduciveness. That's about all, isn't it? Okay, sir.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Hariji.
The vasanas are the ignorance. So the devotion helps us to remove the avarana. That is the vasana. The vasana is enveloping our core, which makes us ignorant. So that's what I feel, that it removes, it helps to sublimate our vasanas.
Correct. So the ignorance in the form of vasanas is avarana, and vikshepa is the agitations.
Yeah.
So avarana and vikshepa
Are removed.
The vasanas and the desires, the vasanas, and in the form of ignorance. Avarana is the ignorance in the form of your vasanas and desires.
Yeah.
And vikshepa are the mental agitations. So
Yes.
this knowledge, karma, bhakti, jnanam, takes care of the ignorance and the agitations, avarana and vikshepa. So when this happens, the result is the self starts expressing itself.
Ultimately purification of the mind and intellect, so that
yes,
it is calm.
Correct. So it only takes care of the finite, and the infinite remains what it was, isn't it? It's like we take the example of a brass vessel. I polished the brass vessel and I didn't give brilliance to the brass vessel. The brilliance existed in it. I have just removed the dirt. So the finite effort, I use a brasso. So the brasso can be compared to Kashish. Yes, Kashish. So the brasso can be compared to here. What's the brass vessel? Firstly,
the brass vessel is the self or the finite.
okay. What's the dirt? The brass vessel is the individual, let's say.
Yes.
And what is
So
the dirt here?
The dirt would be the finite obstacles, the avarana, which is ignorance in the form of vasanas and desires, and
Yes.
vikshapa, which is the mental agitation.
Good job. So vikshepa and avarana.
Vikshepa,
Now,
thank you.
then what is the brasso here?
It would be the finite knowledge and effort.
which is the karma, bhakti, and jnanam,
Yes.
isn't it? So what you go and tell your friends today, what you learned is, I've learned brasso technique.
Yes, Guruji.
We'll have to rebrand the retreat as spiritual brasso technique. We'll rebrand it that way, ma. RM, we'll call it the brasso retreat. Ramji, can we write? Can we say so? The spiritual brasso retreat.
No, it's a nice sounding, but we can't say that, sir.
Oh, why, sir? Is it monopoly? Somebody taken over that, is it, sir?
Yeah, it is a brand of that company, so we can't use it. That's a legal point, but I think that only it only adds impurity to a pure effort.
Very much, very much. So it is exactly like the brasso removes the dirt. You're following, sir?
Yes, sir, 100%.
And when you look at it, after all these elements come in, it fits in perfectly, isn't it? Everything is so apt. You're saying something, sir?
No, it is perfect. You see, I think it is a matter of, when we say finite you can use finite to reach the infinite or to progress on the journey. But some of the finite things also, you get attached to them. Like the whole world is finite. So all the sensory things are also finite. So I think the grosser finites and subtler finites, if we differentiate, and if we don't get attached to the finite, but we can also use some part of the finite to remove the obstacles and ignorance.
So in the previous mantra, he has given us what is the lower, what is the higher.
Correct.
And I made one of the opening statements I made is, one of the things we learn is, don't develop attachment to
Correct.
even the path itself, or anything that comes in the path. You must not develop attachment.
Exactly.
Ultimately, we must be detached to them to get to the self.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Shivaji.
The finite can only indicate the infinite. It cannot take you to the infinite. It can only indicate. It's like we are trying to reach infinite number by counting from 1 to infinity. It can never happen. It can only say, yes, that is the way. That is a possibility. But it can only show the direction. It's not.
Correct, sir.
The finite can definitely tell you there is an infinity. It is to infer that infinity you need finite.
Well said. Thank you. So imperceptible, ungraspable, adreshyam, agrahyam. And then he says agotram, unlineal. So a gotra, it is not unilineal. Huh? Unilever will come here then. What is the right word, Gama? Is unlineal. It's correct. There is a word. There's no word.
Guruji, in the slide, it was written as unilineal.
It is a typo. Computer picked up something else. Scrutinize Pandangama. It is not unilineal, it's unlineal. So a gotra refers to an origin, a root, or a family. So unlineal means it is no root, no origin, no connection, no vasana, no family, nothing. No origin, no birth, no death. It has no origin at all. You and I are born will die. But Brahman never birth, no death, no gotram, agotram. So you go to a temple, don't give your gotram. You're committing a papam by saying my gotram. And a gotram you're giving. Ahankar, that is. Destroy your gotram. That is what you come to a temple, yeah, Shivaji. To destroy your gotram. My gotram, my family, my thing, my children, my grandchildren. Please bless my family. Agotram pa. Vijigupsa Varnu, revulsive to use these words. I feel strongly revulsive. You may disagree with me. That's the crime you're committing in a temple, to give your gotram to the pujari. When next time pujari asks you gotram, agotram.
I think that's not what it was meant to be, Guruji. It's
What
like
is
you
meant to-
call different plants in different species with a specific name. It is only to indicate that. We don't have to take it that way. By
You
saying
are
I
the
belong
self.
to this Gotram, we are not saying anything wrong, saying something else is wrong. I'm saying
not
I'm this
saying-
planet, I'm this plant called whatever it is. It
Don't
is like-
announce it. Don't announce it in front of God.
Even by announcing, you are only getting to know your own self, to which branch of thing you belong to, nothing beyond. We don't
I
have to
respect
read
your
beyond
view.
that. It has
I
been a
respect your
culture.
view.
It's only in our culture to know to where you belong to know where you belong. Ultimately, it can take you to where you don't actually belong to. It's only that indication. It's by name. You are calling me by name to know that you are Shiva. Okay, we teach Shiva Hyderabad is to know I am from Hyderabad. That's it. This was given by a Mahaperiyava. This he had made it very clear. Don't get into that way. It is only to indicate you belong to this place, Hyderabad. It is not
it, sir.
meant
Thank
for
you.
anything else.
Thank
It is
you,
wrong
sir.
to say, don't say it. You need to know your Gotra. It's like you need to know your name.
Noted, Shivaji. Thank you. You are unnecessarily getting emotional about it. It is your perspective. You hold on to each one, hold on to your view. That's why I said how I feel it. It is my perspective. You may disagree with it, you may agree with it. That's your choice. I feel it is a cardinal sin. Spiritual crime I will commit if I give my Gotram in front of a temple or I identity. You may royally disagree. I will royally agree with you. That is your view. So hold on to view. Anybody can say anything. The highest of truths is saying the Atman has no Gotram and I am the Atman. Why should I identify myself to be what you are? It is all Maya. You are identifying. When you go to a temple, you don't carry your footwear with you. You're leaving your mind and intellect outside. What Gotram are you talking about? What birth are you talking about? What individuality are you talking about? What attachment are you talking about? Doesn't exist. Shouldn't exist. You don't carry your footwear into the sanctum sanctorum, do you? You leave your vasanas and your mind and intellect outside the temple before you enter the temple. Adda adhikari. And Gotram ella eduthu poittu na idda adda ego na adu varadu. That is not the way it is. From the highest standpoint, everything seems ridiculous. This is what I'm trying to say. You follow it or not, whether one is there at that level is secondary. From the highest standpoint, it is irrelevant. That's all they're trying to say. Because Atman has no Gotram. Tattvamasi. That thou art. You are that. Adha solranga. You are that truth. You have no origin, no caste. Idella, why should he say? Avarnam. Brahman has no caste. So to say I'm a Brahmana or a Shudra or a Kshatriya or a Vaishnava or a Vaishya has no meaning. Brahman has no caste, has no property, has no quality. It is not describable. It is not a substance to have any property. So Brahman has no caste. And as you know, the four castes, the four Varna ashramas, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the four ashramas are born based on your mental temperaments. As such, there are no castes. It is only intelligent division of labor intelligent allocation of work based on your mental temperaments. So if you're predominantly a sattvic person, you become a brahmana. When sattva drops little, rajas and tamas start creeping in, you become a kshatriya. When sattva and rajas still drop and tamas starts taking a precedence, you're a vaishya. And precedence of tamas over other two gunas, you become a shudra. So Brahman has got no sattva, rajas, tamas, it's beyond gunas. Therefore, it is not having any qualities or properties. Therefore, it has no caste. Very easy to understand. Absolute standpoint. Eternal. Nityam. Eternal means beyond time. It can't be measured. Something which existed in the past, present, it shall exist in the future. It's eternal. Achakshushotram. Without an ear, without an eye. Apanipadam. Without hand and foot. So he again is talking about Brahman is that which enlivens your karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. It enlivens your organs of perception and organs of action. It helps you to perceive and helps you to act. But it neither by itself perceives nor acts. Brahman neither perceives nor Brahman acts, but it helps your organs of perception to perceive, it helps your organs of action to act. 7, of manifold expressions. Vibhum. In spite of the manifold expressions, it remains to be what it is. It remains the same in and through all the expressions. Haresh, what is it that remains the same in all the manifold expressions of ornaments? I'm just giving an example so that you understand. Are you with us, Haresh?
Almost not. I'm slightly behind. It's quite a lot.
Where are you?
No, I'm here, but I don't know how to articulate it, Guruji. I'm not lost, but I'm not lost, nor am I understand what's going on in the class, Guruji, today, but it's quite a lot to digest. It's quite rapid, quite intense. So I'm just, my mind is a bit at a slower pace, if that makes any sense.
We need to slow down, is it?
It might be helpful.
No, you should raise your hand and say, we are going a little too fast. That would also help. No, I can understand. I just thought so, that perhaps we are going a little too, because, it's a matter of fact. There's nothing that you could, any amount of time you spend, you'll not understand. I can spend next 1 year on this, you will not understand. It's nothing to do with that, but how I'm just trying to connect you to the concept where he says vibhum. The word vibhum means of manifold expressions. In and through the manifold expressions, it remains the same. It remains the same in the manifold expression. So Brahman remains the same in all the expressions. It doesn't change. Now, the example I was just asking is what remains the same in the various manifold expressions of ornaments?
That would be gold.
Gold remains as gold. It doesn't change, isn't it? You're giving it a name and a form and an expression, but the gold remains gold as it is. Like mud remains mud, or clay remains clay in all the manifold expressions of various pots. Cotton remains cotton, irrespective of the various names and forms of fabric. Where are you, RM? Chuck it aside. So are you, Harish, with me?
Yes.
So where were you lost? Anything needs specific clarification?
No, not at the present moment, Guruji.
Great. All right. Thank you, Harish. So moving forward, the 8th, when he says Sarvagatam, Brahman is all pervading. All pervading means literally it is gone everywhere. The literal meaning is Brahman is everywhere. It's gone everywhere. So an idiomatic construction which creates the impression Brahman is too far away. Brahman is far. It's everywhere means it's far. So he immediately corrects himself. The opposite of Sarvagatam is Susukshmam. It is extremely subtle. So one gives the impression it is far, and then he immediately corrects himself and says it is extremely subtle, it's very near to you. It is the nearest, in fact. The closest to me is my own self, but still is a father to me. Very far from me because I don't know it. Now, whenever we understand the concept of subtlety, remember, subtlety is measured by two means. Subtlety is measured with pervasiveness and control. This is what we are taught, and I'm teaching you. Mentioned it in the past, it is worth reminding and understanding it. Subtlety, you don't have to go on the face value when people say it. You can analyze it for yourself. So subtlety is measured with pervasiveness and control. Firstly, let's discuss pervasiveness. When you talk of all the thing that is known to you, what is it that is known to you? Aram, what do you know, Aram? What is it known to you?
Are we looking for the Panchabhutas, Guruji?
Okay, you can talk about what are the Panchabhutas?
Air, water, fire, space.
What else you know? To say self is the subtlest. How do you say self is subtlest? Then you compare it with everything grosser than that and say self is subtler than these. So what is it that known to you is a question? Where do you start with?
With earth, the grossest.
Don't get to the elements, because if you go with elements, you'll only come to the space and say space is subtlest of all elements, but then you don't say self is subtle. How do you come to the self? To say self is subtlest, what is grosser than the self?
Nama Rupa, Guruji.
You're not thinking.
Names.
You're not thinking along. Distract writing it. What is subtler than the self? Correct, Padminima. Subtler than the self is your vasanas. Now, what is subtler than the vasanas, Gayatri Ma?
Subtlest is
So,
vasana.
subtlest is self.
Vasanas.
Subtler than, grosser than the self is the vasanas. Grosser than the vasanas
Is the deep sleep bliss, but that beyond that is vasanas actually.
No. Vasanas is deep sleep.
Deep sleep.
Deep sleep is vasanas.
Vasanas.
Now, what is grosser than vasana?
causal body, but that also is vasanas again.
What is grosser than that? Grosser than the vasana is the intellect. Subtle body, yeah.
Subtle body. But
Is
I
the
thought
intellect.
vasanas is the more subtler than the intellect also.
Correct. That's why I said grosser than vasana.
Okay, grosser. Then intellect, mind, and all. I was going much beyond that. Vasanas and self beyond.
No, adukku mele onnu illa. You can't go beyond
That's
that.
what.
So
Maximum.
self, vasanas,
Vasanas,
intellect,
mind,
body. This is the grossness, and then it's inert matter. Then we don't have to worry about it. So when we talk of pervasiveness, where does your body pervade, Gatina? It is the best way is to put this and see it. So we will call it as waking. Okay, sorry. Let me put this way. Waking, dream, deep sleep, and turiya. And then we have got the body, the mind, the intellect, the vasanas, and the self. UK. Now, with reference to the body, where does the body pervade?
Pervade means you mean to say exist, Guruji?
Yes, exist. Ama. Pervade means exist. Where does it exist?
When you're in waking state.
It exists in the waking state. Okay. Then
dream state, it exists in an inert state. It doesn't. It's
Usha Kaundinya's physical body. Does it exist in the dream state when you go to sleep tonight? To the dreamer?
If I am dreaming of Usha Kaundinya, it will exist.
Even if you are dreaming of Usha Kaundinya, in the dream also, in the waking state, you could have had a 5-course meal and slept. But in the dream, you are doing a 2-day upavasam, and the pangs of hunger is killing you. Is it not possible? So the food in your stomach, which is the waker's tummy, doesn't satisfy or doesn't quench the hunger of the dreamer.
Dreamer, yes, Guruji.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is the waker's is the body available to the dreamer?
No.
Sure. It is not available to the dreamer. Is it available to the deep sleeper?
No.
Is it available to Turiya?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay. Right. Very good. 100% marks. Pass.
Once in a way, Guruji, once in a way.
Right. Now, Amitama, fill in the next.
So this is the mind.
Yes.
So it is existing, right?
Now, does the mind exist in the waking state?
Yes.
Are you mindful of what you're saying now? Or are you mindless?
The mind exists. Yes, I will say it is existing in the waking state. The mind
Why that confusion? Why that pause?
because you asked that question. Are you being mindful?
I shouldn't have asked. Then it would have been very clear.
Doubt. Yeah, exactly.
So yes, so the
Yes.
the mind is there in the waking state.
Yes. It is there in the dream state.
How do you say it's in the dream?
Because without the mind, it will be difficult to see the dream. I mean, the dream needs the mind to operate, if I may say.
You're right. In fact, the dream is nothing but the waker's mind only. It's a projection of the waker's mind. So that the waker's mind is there in the dream, but I would say partially.
Okay.
It's not that the entire knowledge, you may be a PhD in the waker, but you could be illiterate in the dream. Is it not possible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So the entire dream is not there. It's not there. It's just there. It's there, still present, but not the thing.
Yeah.
In deep sleep?
No, it's not there in deep sleep.
It's not there.
And in
You
Turiya,
sure?
it's
You're
yes.
sure it's not there?
Yes.
Okay, it's not there.
And Turiya
It's
also,
not there.
it's not there. Yeah.
It's not there. Great.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Right. Now, Pushpama, you have got able support of Jayashrima. So both can answer the question. Pushpama, tell me, is the intellect there in the waking state?
Yes, sir. Yes, Guruji.
Ma, is the intellect there in the waking state?
Yes. Yes, Guruji.
Sure, huh? I would say there is no intellect at all. I hardly see anybody with an intellect. So, Rajima, correct? So there's a pun on the word no intellect there. All right. For what technical purposes we'll say, Pushpama, the intellect is there in the waking state, right? Jayashrima, is the intellect there in the dream?
There. It's there.
It is there. Okay. Is the intellect there in deep sleep?
I think little apart.
How do you say that?
With that, our dream, I think it is there. I feel.
Okay, I don't want to give it away yet. Okay. Now, Padmini Ma. Yes, ma. We'll take Padmini Ma.
It is there. Partially, I think.
Intellect is absent during deep sleep.
Intellect is not there in deep sleep.
Yes, it is not there. It is sleeping. Intellect is also sleeping then. It is not active.
In fact, I would go on the contrary and say intellect is there in deep sleep.
It is not active, but
no, obviously in the waking state it is not active. Forget in deep sleep. It is in cold storage in the waking state. Put 2 laddus in front of you, intellect completely gone. All gone for a 6. So that,
yeah.
no, that is, I'm making a joke of it, but coming to the point, Padmini Ma, intellect is not there in, or it's present in deep sleep. Why do we say that is when you wake up from deep sleep, something registers that you had a sound sleep.
Yes.
So there is that ray of intellect which is actually observing that soundless sleep or silence. And it is the intellect that communicates to the waker that you had a sound sleep. So there is that ray of intellect in the deep sleep.
Yeah, true. But If intellect is there to tell you that you had gone through a process of deep sleep.
Correct.
Now,
To that
what-
extent, it's there.
Yeah, the actual importance of intellect comes when it is able to take a decision. So that is not something which is happening during your deep sleep, because your rational.
No, that's what you're right. It is just a thin ray of intellect. That's all. A ray of intellect is there in deep sleep. So to that extent, we say it is there for purposes of pervasiveness. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Padmishma, now you tell me, is the intellect there in Turiya state?
In Turiya, it's not there.
Obviously, correct. It's not there. Now you answer to me the next vasanas. Is vasanas there in waking?
Vasanas, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Yes. In dream, is it there?
Yes.
In deep sleep, is it there?
Deep sleep, they don't manifest in deep sleep. I can't say that it's not there, but they don't manifest.
No, but another name for deep sleep is actually a vasanas. You know that?
Vasanalessness. Yeah.
Vasanalessness illa. Another name for deep sleep is your vasana.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so vasanas are there in deep sleep. Vasanas are there in Turiya?
No, because that is pure.
Pure. Now, right. So to conclude, the last is very easy. The self pervades in the waking, dream, deep sleep, and it also there in Turiya. Therefore, we can say the self is the subtlest. But then now the question would arise in your minds, if vasana is there in waking, dream, deep sleep, if intellect also is there in waking, dream, deep sleep, how do you say vasana is subtle than intellect? Now, because this chart is talking about
Pardon,
pervasiveness.
Vasanas is a
by the diagram, we see that the intellect is there in the three states, and vasana also is there in all the three states. How do you say vasana is subtle than the intellect? Please think. I don't need to have an answer right away. I want you to think over it. Okay, ma?
Okay.
Right. Yes, Setuji?
Guruji, in Turiya state, vasanas are there, no? Because prarabdha vasanas are there even for a self-realized soul.
When we talk of vasanas, we are talking about the Sanchita vasanas. The Sanchita vasanas. No, the prarabdha vasanas. Sir, when Turiya is nothing but a state of realization, no?
Correct. After
if you
also, they say the person lives to remove his vasanas. Prarabdha.
He is not living to remove. He lives because he has certain more vasanas, which they will automatically get exhausted. So as far as he is concerned, he is realized the self. But until he attains physical samadhi, there is a lifespan a master lives.
Yeah, that means those vasanas are there even after.
Sir, okay, sir, what is the difference between you and a realized soul?
No, Guruji, I'm just saying.
No, I'm trying to answer your question with a question.
No, I want to tell it in a little different way. In intellect, you say a ray of intellect is there in deep sleep. I am saying ray of vasanas are there in Turiya.
If you have any trace of vasanas, then you have not attained moksha.
No, this prarabdha vasanas are there.
That is what I am saying. What is the difference between you and a realized soul?
Realized soul as merged with Brahman or
Right. Has Seturaman merged with Brahman?
I am bonded. I am.
Oh, I think little doubt.
No.
Situji thinks he also has merged. He doesn't know how to convey it to us. We got the point, sir. Thank you very much.
I am totally bonded, attached to the
Sir, so you have not yet reached that state of immortality.
Yeah.
You have not attained realization. Why have you not attained realization? Talking in the terms of vasanas, why have you not attained realization? Because of your sanchita vasanas, isn't it? So whenever we talk of realization or non-realization, we are talking about your sanchita vasanas. There is no discussion about prarabdha vasanas. So the moment Seturamanji exhausts his sanchita vasanas, you have attained self-realization. There is no reference to your prarabdha because that will automatically be exhausted. There is no reference to that prarabdha vasanas at all. So turiya or self-realization or moksha is an attainment when you have exhausted your vasanas. So that vasanas refers to sanchita vasanas, not prarabdha. So there is no discussion of prarabdha vasanas.
Say prarabdha, when vasanas in other states, body, mind, intellect, that
we are talking of sanchita vasanas here, not prarabdha.
Waking and dream and deep, does it not include prarabdha vasanas?
It includes, because you're still not attained immortality. But attainment of self-realization is measured with exhaustion of prarabdha vasanas, sanchita vasanas, not prarabdha vasanas. Okay. Yeah, Vijayji, and then we'll come to Hariji. Yes.
A very small doubt, Guruji. I mean, how does it matter whether Sanchita Vasana or Prarabdha Vasana, whatever you have today with you, whether it came with you from the previous birth or you acquired it during this birth, it's one and the same, isn't it?
No.
So long as you don't burn them off or exhaust them, it still is the same for all practical.
No, there is a slight catch there. The term prarabdha vasanas are given to a bundle of vasanas that you bring along when you're born with. Okay. And those set of prarabdha vasanas, what it is said is you burn them through the course of through your life, through experience only. They cannot be burned through wisdom or knowledge. So if you have a specific prarabdha vasana that you must be alive at 95, you will live till 95. What come may, you will not die. There can be World War III also. You'll survive World War III also. But you can attain moksha at 50. That is, your sanchita vasanas can be burnt either through knowledge or through experience. So with knowledge, you can burn the sanchita. And actually, the sanchita is the bulk. Prarabdha is a small pocket. If you say sanchita is 95, 5 is your prarabdha that you're born with. So don't worry, this 5 is taken care of, they say. What your sadhak must take care is 95, not 5%. So they say 95% when they are dealt with through knowledge or wisdom or experience, that is when you attain moksha, not the 5%. 5% they are not concerned because automatically it will get burnt. Like even an animal, when it dies, it is burnt off its prarabdha vasanas. A plant or an animal also, it burns off the vasanas. So there's nothing great about it. So we don't take that into account at all. Okay, sir. I believe Sethuji is asking from that context. Okay. Yes, Hariji, lastly.
Guruji, I have a doubt from the last class. Can I ask?
Oh, last class?
Yeah.
Last class, you asked something. Now you should ask in the beginning, sir. Before, no. Keep it in mind, any one of you, if there's any question you wish to ask before I get on with the text so that anything, there's a continuity, something you want to carry forward. But I will come to you. But before I come to that, sir, I want you all to clarify that even the vasanas are pervading in all the three: waking, dream, deep sleep. How do you say vasanas are subtler than intellect? Because if you go back to the chart, we said vasanas also pervade in waking, dream, deep sleep. Intellect also pervades waking, dream, deep sleep. But how do you say vasana is subtler than the intellect? That's a question. Come back with your thoughts. And I'll also explain the concept of control, which is another measuring tool for subtlety. Right. Yes, Hariji.
Guruji, in the last class you taught us PC plus thought is conditioned consciousness.
Yes.
Which means the thought is the cause and conditioned consciousness is the effect. With the concept that pure consciousness is only a witness. So what is the cause for my thought? Where the pure consciousness is not going, he is only a witness. Have I expressed myself correctly? PC plus thought is conditioned consciousness. And so thought is the cause and conditioned consciousness is the effect. The question is, what is the cause of my thought?
What do you mean? What's the cause?
Yeah, what makes me to think? Assuming pure consciousness is...
Okay, you remove the word thought, you can say PC plus vasana. PC plus vasana equals CC.
Then it is clear.
You replace, you can say either a vasana, you can say a thought, you can say a desire. All one and the same. No, it's just another form. It's just another degree of expression, but they all one and the same. No.
Yeah. No, but it didn't. That thought didn't come to me. You know, I was thinking only about thought. Yeah.
Fair enough. But you know, because at the end of the day, what conditions you is the conditioning element.
Yeah.
Like man minus desires equals God. God plus desires equals man. Same thing, no? PC plus thought equals CC is God plus desire equals man. Same equation.
Okay, fine, fair
Isn't
enough.
it? The same conclusion. Okay. Right. Now, Harish, I'm sorry, I don't know a way of how to. Ramji, is there a way you can retrieve that which you have wrote on the board? Like Harish wants me to retrieve that. Is it possible? I don't know.
I've never operated iPad, sir, but you should be able to swipe and get it back.
Swipe, is it?
I don't know. I don't use any Apple products, so I don't know how they behave.
Okay. I use Apple and Orange also, but
I am a pure orange person, sir.
Correct, sir. I get it, sir. I get it, sir. So, Harish, I think maybe Rajima, have you taken snapshot? Okay. So please post that to Harish. No, so Harish, she will share it with you. All right. Thank you. We'll come back.
Guruji, Rajima has got an announcement to make.
Oh yeah, please.
Namaskaram.
Oh, she wants us to tell namaskaram to her because she did namaskaram.
Just awaiting Gayatri Ma.
No, please, everybody do namaskaram to her. How can we be disrespectful to Gayatri Ma? No? Gayatri Rajima, yes. Yes, Ma.
We are happy to announce Wisdom Retreats 2023 We look forward to being with you all at the retreat. It'll be held from Saturday the 4th to the 7th to Tuesday the 7th of March. We request you all to register by following the link. In case you need any clarifications or assistance, both Gayatri and I are available to help. Please spread and benefit this great experience by sharing the flyer with your family and friends. Ruji, is there anything you'd like to add to?
No. Vijayji, actually, that flyer should have reached you, since it's there in your. It should have reached you.
I'll have a look with you. It is done through the WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay.
Through the
I'll check.
channel, it's reached you. Okay, great. Now, even though we say it is the spiritual personality that we're analyzing, anybody who a newcomer comes in, it gives them a same platform. There is no added greater disadvantage or advantage. So anybody can come in. It gives them a beautiful opportunity to go through the experience and also follow the teachings which are from the 18th chapter of the Gita. So that gives them an advantage, and they can be a part of this journey. So anybody is welcome. So you can do your part in trying to get as many, so that the experience becomes enriching and wholesome for everybody. Okay. And all the Setuji is asking some information about registration, other details. Everything is already incorporated into the flyer itself, sir. Everything is self-explanatory, Setuji. Okay, right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.